Hello students, this is the second part of video of chapter number 4 from history. In last video we have covered two topics from how did the tribal groups live. So that was some were the Jhum cultivators and some were the hunter gatherers. So here we are going to discuss some were the hunter and the gatherers. In many regions, tribal groups lived by hunting animals and gathering forest produces. As they are living in forest, so they are always dependent on the forest produces and as well as animals. Khonds were hunters and gatherers living in the forest of Orissa. This is a tribal group's name, Khonds. They were living in forest of Orissa and they were considered as hunter and gatherers. They ate fruits and roots collected from the forest and cooked food with oil extracted from the seed of the sal and maua. So they used to extract the oil and from that they are cooking the food by using that oil. They used many forest shrubs and herbs for medicinal purpose and sold forest produce in the local markets. So as we said, they are totally dependent on the forest producers and animals, and rather than they are selling a few herbs and shrubs in the local market, so they are earning little bit also from this forest produce after selling it. The local weavers and leather workers turned to the khonds when they needed supply of kusum and palash flower to color clothes and as well as leather, as they are hunting animals, so they used to have the leather. So the local weavers and leather workers are turning to khonds to get both the thing, that is color and leather. Where did these forest people get their supply of rice and other grains? So as we said, in forest they are dependent on animal. Forest produce would be fruits. Then what about the rice or the other grains? How they are getting it? At times they exchange goods. At other times they bought goods with small amount of earning they had by doing odd jobs in the villages like carrying loads or building roads, while others labored in the field of peasant and farmers. So barter system we have already covered in the previous chapter, we have already learned. So in exchange of something, the other thing is taken. So this is the barter system. If they are having they are having herbs and shrubs, so they can exchange it with the rice or the other grains. So this is the way how they are getting the grain supplies. Then what was the other way to get rice or the other grains? That whatever job they are doing, the odd jobs like carrying loads or building roads, and even they are working as a laborer in the as a farmers of the peasants in the field. So from that they are getting the earning, and that earned money is used to purchase the rice or other grains. When supplies of the forest produce shrank, they have wandered around in search of work, because the forest producers depend on the seasons also. So when the producers shrank, when they are having less amount of forest producers, then they wander around in search of work. Why? To earn money, and to by earn money they can purchase the other things also. Many like Baigas of Central, Baigas is a tribal group's name. They are the tribal of Central India. Now they were reluctant to work for others. They still lived on the forest produce. So these were the group who were not at all ready to work as a laborer for others. They still were living as a tribal group who are following their traditional way of living and dependent on the forest produces. Tribal groups often needed to buy and sell in order to be able to get the goods that were not produced within the locality. So they used to buy and sell things forward, because the things which are not available in the locality, they have to purchase it from the other regions. Now this led to their dependence on the traders and money lenders also. So the thing or the goods which are not available to their locality, they have to purchase. Now for purchase what they need money. So they depended on the traders to purchase the thing, the different goods they needed, and rather than that they were also dependent on the money lender, because money lender used to provide money to them. Loans were given to the tribal on high interest. This made debt and poverty among the tribals, because this is never ending debt cycles, as the money lender is providing money to the forest people and with on high interest. So they are not able to repay because they are not earning that much, as they are dependent on the forest producers. So what happened, as they are not able to pay, they are made debt, they are engaged or they are involved in the cycle of debt and become more and more poor. Traders and money lenders were thus seen as evil outsider causing misery for their life. So what the forest people considered the money lenders or traders as, they were considered as evil outsider who came from the other regions or the other part of society, who get into their regions, and whatever misery they were facing, whatever the problem they were facing in their lives, that is because of the outsider. Who were the outsider? Traders and money lenders. Now some of the tribal peoples were herding animals, so they were living as herders. Many tribal groups lived by herding and rearing animals, gathering forest produces. They were pastoralists. So these were also known as pastoralists, who moved there with their herds of cattle of sheep according to the season. Now why according to the season? When the grass in one place was exhausted, they moved to the other area, because their cattle needs grass for grazing. So it is, if it is not available, the fodder, if it is not available in one particular area as per the season, they move to the other region where it is available. So they are also known as pastoralists, who are moving according to the season. The Van Gujars of Punjab, Hill Labadis of Andhra Pradesh, Gaddis of Kulu, and Bakarwals of Kashmir reared animals like cattle and goats. So these are the other tribal group who are totally dependent on the herding and rearing animals. Now some of them took a settled cultivation. Even before 19th century, many tribal groups took to settle down instead of moving from one place to another, as the pastoralists used to do. They began to use the plow and gradually got right over the land they lived on. So wherever they were settling, and once they plow the land, that land becomes their own. The rights were their own, as they were living on the particular land. Like Mundas of Chota Nagpur, the land belonging to the clan as whole. So clan over here means the group of tribal people living in particular area. So that land belongs to that clan. All members of the clan were regarded as the descendant of the original settlers who had first cleared the land. So once they, or if their ancestors have cleared that land, now the land become to the next generation. So the descendants of the clan becomes the next owner of the land once it is being cleared in the past. Therefore, all of them have right on the land. Some of the clan acquired more power and some become chief. So who was more in power, they become chief, and other becomes the follower. Powerful men often rented out their land instead of cultivating it themselves. So as they got power, now what they used to do, they provide their land on rent. So they don't used to cultivate themselves, they give the land for rent. Tribal group, tribal groups were organized into tribal groups like the Gonds and Santhals were seen by the British official as more civilized than other hunter-gatherers or shifting cultivators. The others were considered as wild and savage who needed to be civilized. So all the tribal groups like Gonds and Santhals, so according to the British official, they were considered as the most civilized one. Why? Because they have settled in one particular places and they were leading or living a settled life. So they can be controlled by the British official. It would be benefit for the British officials. According to British official, the hunter-gatherers or the shifting cultivators, they were not considered as the civilized one. They were considered as wild and savage who has to be civilized. How did colonial rule affect tribal life? So below are the points. What happened to the tribal chief under the colonial rule? What happened to the shifting cultivators? Forest laws and their impact. The problem with the trade. So these are the topics that we are going to cover. The search for the work also. Under which topic? How did colonial rule affect the tribal life? Under that we are going to cover these many points. So first topic under that was what happened to the tribal chief. The lives of tribal groups changed during the British rule. How? Before the arrival of British, tribal chiefs enjoyed economic power and had the right to administer and control their territories. As we have learned in the last slide, as the clan began to settle down in one location on one land, so some few of them become more powerful, become chief. So they were enjoying their economic power and was having all right of administering that region and was having the control over their territories before the arrival of British. But what happened? Under the British rule, the functions and power of the tribal chiefs changed as they were allowed to keep their land titles but were forced to follow laws made by the British officials in India. Now here, when the British rule came, what happened? The tribal chiefs were having their titles. They were considered the chief only, but they were looking after the land on behalf of British official. Which laws they have to follow? That was being made by the British official. They cannot implement any of the law which is being made by the tribal chief. They have to follow the laws which are being made by the British officials. So only they were having the title as a chief of that area. Now they were even made to pay tribute to the British and discipline their group. So according to what the British are asking, they were disciplining their tribal group, and even this chief used to give tributes to the Britishers. As they lost their authority, who? The chief, the traditional function of the tribes were also suspended. So whatever traditional function they used to follow or they used to believe, that traditional functions were suspended. Why? Because it was being said by the Britishers and also because they have lost the authority. What happened to the shifting cultivators or the Jhum cultivators? Now the British were uncomfortable with the shifting cultivators. Now why? Because settled peasants were easier to control and administer. How they are going to control the people who are living in one particular place in one time, and for after many years they are moving to the other places. So they are not able to control over, put control over them, and even if they are collecting the revenue, then they are not going to get that revenue in a flow. The British wanted a regular revenue source for the state and introduced land settlement. So here they introduced a settlement. What kind of settlement? Land settlement. The tribal people has to settle on one particular land. For what reason? because they wanted a regular revenue sources. It means land was measured, whatever land was under the tribal group, that was being measured. Rights to land were defined. It means the land belonged to whom, every individual was being counted, and revenue demand was fixed. Now the revenue began to be collected from the land and from the individual to whom the land belongs to. Some peasants were declared landowners, others were tenants. So here some were considered as landowners, other the tenant. Tenants means the land which is given them on rent. The tenants pay rent. And what is the duty of landowner? Landowner who in turn paid revenue to the state. So in short, you can say the landowners were collector of the revenue or rent from the tenants, and this amount were given to the state or to the Britishers. The British effort to settle Jhum cultivators was not very successful. Settled cultivation was not easy as water was scarce and soil was dry. So if they have to settle in one particular area, if they have to cultivate and have to produce more yielded crops, then what is needed? They need water, and as well as the soil should be of best quality. But it was not easy where water is very scarce and soil was dry. So the Jhum cultivators in the northeast India insisted on continuing with their traditional practices, that is moving from one place to another after few years. Facing widespread protests, the British allowed shifting cultivation in some part of the forest. So they protested, they are not going to follow the British instructions or laws. So here British, what have they done? They allowed the shifting cultivators the some part of the forest to do what? To follow their Jhum cultivation practice. Forest law and their impacts. The life of the tribal groups was directly connected to the forest. So changes in the forest law has a considerable effect on their lives. The British extended their control over all forests and declared them as a state property. Now the forests which were belonging to the tribal group, now it come directly to the control of the Britishers, and they declared it as state property. It means the property of British. Now reserve forests were for producing timbers which the British wanted. So these reserve forests were being under the control of Britishers. Now they were producing the timbers which was needed by Britishers. In a reserved forest, people were not allowed to move freely for practicing Jhum cultivation, or they cannot collect the fruits, or even they cannot hunt the animals. Many were forced to move to the other areas in search of work and as well as livelihood, because how they will eat food, or how they will settle, or how they will live. So for that reason they were looking after the odd jobs. But British faced problem. What was the problem? From where would the forest department get its labor to cut the trees for railway sleepers and to the transport logs? Because during that time the railway constructions were going on, so they need labor. Labor for cutting trees fell short. Small patches of land where it has been given to the tribal in return to providing labor for the forest department. So they found a solution. Small patch of land were given to the tribal people. In return, what they took promise from the tribal people, that they will provide the labor what is being needed for the forest department. Many tribal groups reacted against the colonial forest law and rose in an open rebellion. Such was the revolt of Songram Sangma in 1906 in Assam, and the forest satyagraha of the 1930s in the central provinces. So this was the revolt which was being started in Assam. By whom? The Songram Sangma against the Britishers. So the next topics we are going to cover in the next video. Till then, if you are having any doubt, please do message in my number, personal number. Don't hesitate. Till then, stay tuned for the next video to be uploaded. Thank you.